World Whiskey Review, brought to you by me, Man in the Sands. Come and join me. Hats off, game on. Welcome back. Here we are again with our non-age statement single malts. Now on this theme, we've already looked at the Loch Lomond Inchmurrin. Today we are looking at Springbank's the Longrow. Allow me to show you the bottle. What a wonderful looking bottle, isn't it? It gives off the nostalgia, the history and the simplicity. I even love the style of writing on the label. Maybe that's me, maybe I am old-fashioned. Now, wonderful. This whiskey, being Springbank, is one of 3 distilleries still left in Campbeltown. Campbeltown used to have 30 distilleries. The regions of Scotland for single malts or Scotch are in fact Campbeltown, the Ely or the Isla, the Islands, the Highlands, the Lowland and Speyside. So this is Campbeltown. Very specific is Campbeltown. Now Springbank itself is very well known. I'm sure if you went into a liquor store to have a look, you'd find a Springbank 10-year-old at the very least. The Longrow is a bit different to what the expression of a Springbank 10-year-old would be. This is heavily peated. They actually malt it with a peated 48-hour process. So it holds in the smokiness. That's what they want for it. At 46%, it's relatively strong, not extremely strong, as we compare it later on in the series to a Port Charlotte 10-year-old from Bruichladdich. Smoky peated whiskey, higher in volume than its 46%. Now the Longrow itself should give us that warmth that we desire in the colder months. Double distilled, remember? Let's say that one more time. Double distilled. Since 1973, it's a quality whiskey in anyone's book of anybody who knows about whiskey. But what is it going to deliver to us? Well, let's find out. First, we shall nose. Grassy. Grassy, a bit of menthol, or mint if you like, but not mint as in the mint herb, but more of the mouthwash mint, that menthol, coming perhaps off how the alcohol is infused with the whiskey. Now, one more. We shall do this because if you remember, peated whiskey has heavier notes underneath that will come up. And in fact, they do, but not with a complexity like you might expect of the smokiness of the Lagavulin. No, and we'll look at that later on in the series. This is more on the alcoholic grassy. Powerful, but I want to say specific Campbeltown type aroma. Certainly not something you'd find your everyday bottle of whiskey that you go to buy. So I'm curious. With that, let's get on, shall we? I mean, imagine 30 distilleries down to 3 or 3. All 3, depends how you work it with your fingers. But 3 distilleries. Crazy. In fact, Campbeltown was not originally called Campbeltown. It was actually renamed Campbeltown after the Argyll of Campbeltown. So there you go. Bit of history. I'm not your Google, you look it up. But you'll enjoy looking it up, I'm sure. So hats off, game on. Slanger. Oh, yes, hello. Wow. Forgive me for not speaking straight away. but it's still hitting my senses. Where a peated whiskey may overwhelm your mouth and your senses, and you consider if you're going to have a peated whiskey for it to be later on in the evening if you want to try other whiskies beforehand. Because when you've had a heavily peated whiskey, it's hard to go back the other way. No, this is wonderful. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it'd be overwhelming. I thought it'd be more alcoholic. The menthol was making me think, oh, is this going to be a bit too alcoholic in taste? No. Grassy. Interesting. You know when you take a marshmallow, poke it and put it on a fire and a flame, and it loses the marshmallow instant fluffiness texture. When you put it in your mouth, it overwhelms the senses, not just with the heat and the charring of the marshmallow, but the gooiness. Well, this is your marshmallow of whiskies. Hello, Longrow. I'm going in for another. Goodness. I did not think I would like it. On the nose does not appeal to me. But I feel that I'm taken back to spring, where you have the winter air of February and March still lolling around, especially at 6 o'clock in the morning and after sun has gone down and no clouds in the sky, the stars are there, the moon is there. And if you come from the country like I do, you can almost taste the hay and the long grass in the fields. Oh, this is special. If you've not experienced it, it's hard for me to communicate that. Anyway, it is time for me to, do you like that sound? To add to water. Now, I will keep saying this all the time, add water, leave it for 10 minutes. But as we worked out when I first started publishing the whiskey reviews, people felt it was giving an unfair advantage. But then I was also mixing very cheap whiskies with very expensive whiskies, aged to non-aged. So you can't just make that assumption. But I did agree with some of the audience that I would no longer do that. Now, what we have here, you can still see the grassy texture. Remember, room temperature whiskey, that's why this hasn't clouded up. The finish just gets better, sweeter. The smoke is in the lungs, the sweetness is in the palate. Goodness, I do like this. Now, excuse me. Compared to Loch Lomond, I said only add a tiny bit of water. I added the normal little drop of the Padre. Padre being the holy water. Padre, what are the amigos? Now, this softens it. It's subtle. Oh, it's wonderful as you're breathing and it's still there. It's not as instinctively powerful as neat and naked as nature intended. In fact, I would recommend this to many, a person who's not a fan or not familiar with peated whiskies, with a drop of the Padre, the holy water going in there. Now, what it does, it softens the sensation on the middle and fore of the palate, tongue to the middle. At the back, it makes it easy to drink. There's no burn, nothing like that. Just doesn't even glow. It just kind of dances. It dances away like little fairies off the chest. Just tickle, 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 tickle. I can't explain it to you. Now, just to finish this. I like it neat as naked intended because it gives a bit more of a oof. It's still very smooth, but soft mitted, oof, like a poke. However, if you're not sure about whiskey, if you want to take your time in trying a peated whiskey, when so many in the world say, have a Lagavulin. Well, if your palate hasn't matured, if you're not sure, that could kill you. It will overwhelm your senses. This is a winner. So add a drop of water, splash of the holy water if you think it's worth it, because you want to try it. My recommendation is neat is naked intended, and I highly recommend this as a drop of something else to try. Absolute marvellous. Springbank, great Campbeltown producer. Everyone knows it. The Longrow is something special. They do have other versions of the Longrow that we may try, but this is what I picked up. This varies between $65 to $95 a bottle. It depends where you're buying it. Depends how rare it is for you to get it. Delightful. Yummy, yummy. Wonderful. Take care. Until the next time, well, I'm going to have a bit more naked intended. Ciao, ciao.